Today I'm going to talk about how the world works. I'm talking about the greatest powers in the world, especially economically, but of course that power can go into a lot of places. So without a long introduction, my name's Tommy, I'm 25 years old. To give a little background, I was first introduced to a movie called The Secret when I was 17 years old. At the time I was working at a call center and there was an old man there. Well, we were having a discussion, and I was one of the top reps there. So I was talking to some of the other guys about how you need to see a sale in your head before you can manifest it, how it makes it way easier. Uh, anyway, so there's this old man there who otherwise didn't say much else, and I guess I got his attention or whatnot because then he chimed in and mentioned The Secret, and I was all about learning and seeing everything I could. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. Went back, checked it out at my place. It was awesome. That movie changed my life. There's a part in the movie where Jack, the author of Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul, made a goal to make $100,000 in a year. And it's funny, really, to look back on. But I thought, well, if he could do it for himself, I can do it. And so I made that goal for myself. Next few weeks or months, I was looking for an opportunity to do that. Someone recruited me out of my university. Long story short, I made about that much that year. I actually did it in about 3 months in summer, which took place, so it wasn't even that far out. So anyway, that kind of showed the power of The Secret to me. Is really cool. If you haven't seen the movie The Secret, I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix now. The concept of it is what you think you become. So what you think you attract your life. I think that's absolutely huge. So anyway, that being said, years later, I just kind of explored it more or wanted more. So I looked at how does a person make $1 billion a year or whatever? What's the biggest goal I can make for myself? I looked at people like Lil Wayne, Bill Gates, whatever celebrities that were easily accessible or that, we hear about all the time or whatever. So was on that for a little while. And then a few years later, I would say, I took it even further. I thought about what the highest people in the world, how they function, what they do. And so I've kind of been on this for years now, and I feel like I've figured it out pretty well. I don't mind sharing it. I think it's a pretty cool conclusion. So, so over the next few years, I really thought about what I want to do. I started exploring derivatives, high-level trading. I didn't know at the time that one thing I discovered was shorting the market. If you guys don't know what that is, you can make money when the market goes down the same way you make money when it goes up. That was crazy to me. I couldn't believe I didn't know that till I was past 21. And a lot of people don't know that. And I would consider myself a pretty smart guy. Moving this camera. Anyway, so that being said, yeah, there's a lot of things I learned along the way. In regard to how they function, I would say the highest paying job in the world would be traders who make money on booms and busts. And you have to understand bubbles. These things are man-made. Like the real estate bubble here in the US it's man-made. It's pretty easy to do. You just take some regulations or put some in that make it easier for people to buy houses, and so doing so affects supply and demand. When demand goes up, it's pretty predictable that the price is going to go up. Supply is obviously relatively stable for real estate. Obviously, there's more construction, which happened anyway, but you can see that demand caused the price to go up. So it's pretty predictable. So those who know what's going on are going to buy real estate, obviously. And everyone gets rich in the bubble. Everyone makes money, but then at the end, they know it's a bubble, so they know to sell, or they could also short the market too. So they make money on the way up, and then they make money on the way down if they choose to short it, or they could just not. Anyway, the masses lose that wealth that they gained. But again, if you're doing it the smartest way possible, you make money on the up and down. And you just kind of keep doing this with whatever asset. So this is also another really important concept to this, is that money is a zero-sum game. So this is, I guess, to kind of explain that. Let's take a star, there's a ton of stars out there. Let's just take a random star, that's not even very bright or whatever. What would you pay for that star? Would you pay $10, $100, $1,000? It's your star, you have it, but it doesn't really do much for you, right? So or whatever. So you probably wouldn't pay more than $1 million for it, right? Very unlikely. In fact, you were looking at probably a price point of maybe $10 that you honestly have to decide whether you're willing to part with or not to have that start, just because there's so many and it has absolutely no use to you. So the point I'm trying to make is that everything in the universe that we're aware of, we can put a price on. And then you can price all those things in a currency like dollars or bitcoins or McDonald's double cheeseburgers, whatever currency you want to use, you can price everything in that way. So once you price everything together, then the value of everything is closed. So it's a finite amount. So we can actually price the value of all the assets in the world. So the way I kind of look at it is, let's say the wealthiest people in the world control, like, say, 90% of the assets. By doing the bubbles, they're going to naturally spend money on their lives or whatever too. But by having these bubbles, the booms and busts, you kind of absorb that money back to you. And I moved through this kind of quickly, but I think I got the point across. One really important part of this is, in the end, I think at the really high levels especially, money is about responsibility. That's really what it comes down to. And I believe the wealthiest people in the world are pretty responsible. We haven't fired a nuclear weapon off or anything in the past 50 years. That reflects a level of responsibility. Are they perfect? No, of course not. Nobody's perfect. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. And that's your calling. If you feel like you can do something to contribute to the world, that's your calling. That's where you should want that power so you can help the world more. But yeah, again, in the end, it's about responsibility. It's about love. It's actually really cool when you think about it that, at kind of the highest levels of power or whatever, it just really is about doing things the best way possible and about love. So it's kind of funny when you think about all the people lower down who do shady things or whatever. Anyway, I guess I'm just kind of going off on a tangent there. So yeah, I wanted to make this video. I intended to make it for a few months, so I just want to put it out there. It's kind of unrefined or whatever, but thoughts that took me a long time to kind of figure out, and I feel like I got a pretty good hang of it now. So anyway, that being said, stay tuned for more videos. If you like this, like it. If you really like it, share it or whatever. I'm putting it out there. I love the internet and how we're all connected to each other these days, so I figured I would share it and, see what you guys think. Anyway, take care. Talk to you then.